Starting now, users can use hardware security keys manufactured by Swedish company Yubico to log into a local Windows OS account. After more than 6 months of testing, the company released the first stable version of the Yubico login for Windows application. Now, once installed on a Windows computer, the application will allow users to configure a Yubico security key, also known as a YubiKey, to secure local Windows OS accounts. The Yubico key will not replace your Windows account password, but it will work as a second authentication factor, meaning if somebody has your password, well, they're not going to be able to get into your computer. Users will have to enter your password and then plug in a Yubico key into a USB port to finish the login process. Yubico hopes that the keys will be used to secure high-value computers, storing sensitive data that are used in the field away from secured networks. Such devices are often susceptible to theft or getting lost. If the devices are not encrypted, attackers have various ways at their disposal to bypass normal Windows password-based authentication, and securing local Windows accounts with the YubiKey makes it nearly impossible for an attacker to access your account, even if they know your password. Nowadays, Yubico keys are often used to secure online accounts, but a feature most users weren't aware of is that they can also be used to secure the local OS accounts of some devices. Prior to today, the Yubico login application had only been available to Mac and Linux users. Support for protecting Windows OS accounts has been one of Yubico's most requested features. Yubico said the Yubico login for Windows app currently works on Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and Windows 10. The app is available from the Yubico website. NASA astronauts Christina H. Koch and Jessica Meir made history recently, taking part in the first ever spacewalk in the agency's history, featuring only women. The two astronauts ventured outside of the ISS in order to effect a repair on a failed power controller for the station. That was during a spacewalk that began around 7:50 a.m. Eastern Time and ended at around 2:55 p.m. the same day. The historic event happened 7 months after its original intended target date. After that attempt had to be scrubbed because the ISS was missing a medium-sized spacesuit that one of the two women would need. Astronaut Anne McClain was going to take part alongside Koch at that time, but McClain's time on the station ended back in June. McClain attempted to make a larger-sized suit work, but her mobility was severely limited. NASA sent up a second to medium spacesuit in October to ensure that they wouldn't encounter a similar problem a second time around, but rightly faced criticism for the apparent discrimination of having enough suits to ensure multiple men could spacewalk, but not multiple women. The agency seems to have a genuine interest in curbing any perception of discrimination inherent in the spacesuit program. They also emphasize that the spacesuits designed for its Artemis moon mission program are designed to provide maximum mobility for astronauts of all shapes and sizes. This mission is a tremendous achievement, not just for NASA and the astronauts that took part, but for all human space exploration, marking the first time there's ever been a two-woman spacewalk. Definitely an exciting and momentous event. I am so excited about the space industry these days, and one of the main reasons is everything that SpaceX is doing. They're back in the news again. Now they have 3 of their next generation Starship rockets under construction. As aerial video shows the latest developments at the company's facility in Florida. The first bands of stainless steel for another Starship rocket were put on a stand recently and were captured in a video taken from a flying drone. Former commercial pilot John Wincop took the video and gave CNBC permission to use his footage. Starship is a massive rocket that SpaceX is developing to eventually launch cargo and people into space to the moon and beyond, even to Mars. The rocket is designed to be reusable, so SpaceX can launch and land it multiple times, possibly in a day, like a commercial airplane. SpaceX is building 3 Starship rockets simultaneously, one at its facility in Texas and 2 at its facility in Florida. SpaceX founder Elon Musk last month gave an update on Starship's development, standing in front of the first assembled rocket in Texas. That's also where SpaceX has completed short test flights of a prototype Starship rocket, which they called Starhopper. We showed you that on the program a while back. While the next Starship flight is expected to reach about 65,000 feet, Musk is also pushing SpaceX to fly to space in the coming months. Seconds before an earthquake hits anywhere in California, people nearby will now get a warning on their smartphone to duck and cover. The first ever statewide early warning system in the nation launched recently on the 30th anniversary of the devastating Loma Prieta earthquake that killed 63 people in the San Francisco Bay Area. The early warning system will reach people in 2 ways, through an app called My Shake and through the existing wireless emergency alerts that sound an alarm on cell phones for flood warnings and missing children. If all goes well, it will give people up to tens of seconds of advanced notice before they might feel the ground shaking. That's just enough time to save lives and prevent injuries. The developers are eager to finally get the ball rolling after years of pushing for political will and technological advances to make it a reality. But they're quick to note that the app that is rolling out today is still likely to face challenges ahead when it comes to expanding to a huge scale, especially during a major earthquake. And work is still underway to make it more inclusive of people who don't use smartphones or who speak different languages. We think that there's probably more work to do in the future, but if we can save even one life, then it's worth turning on. That came from Brian Ferguson. He's a spokesperson with the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services. There's a 99.7% chance of a magnitude 6.7 or larger quake rocking California within the next 30 years. That's the reality that Californians live in. The price of admission to live in California is preparation. Had the system been in place back in 1989 during the Loma Prieta earthquake, people in downtown San Francisco could have gotten a warning 15 to 18 seconds before experiencing the damage. That would have been enough time for drivers to pull off the road, or for people indoors to jump under a sturdy table and protect themselves from falling furniture and debris. More than half of all injuries in the Loma Prieta earthquake in the Bay Area and disastrous 1994 Northridge earthquake outside of Los Angeles were linked to hazards like falling ceiling lights and bookshelves. This is the most expansive earthquake early warning app to be unveiled in the US. There is another app, it's called Shake Alert LA. That came out back in January, but it was only available to people within the Los Angeles area. Both apps work with the United States Geological Survey's network of seismic sensors.